A thread by Carlos Osuita. I'm sure that President Trump read Joseph Heller's World War II novel Catch-22. That means Trump knows about Major Blank de Coverley and the glorious loyalty oath crusade. And that is why Trump always refuses to condemn on command. John Roberts of Fox is part of the crusade. Oliver Darcy tweets, I don't understand why he wouldn't say, I denounce white supremacy. I've always denounced white supremacy. John Roberts adds, for some reason they aren't saying the word. And that's what is very puzzling. Carlos continues. In the novel, Captain Black decides that he'll stand out among the officers on the Army Air Force base if he begins making men sign loyalty oaths to the U.S. when they deal with him. All the officers on the base in command of all functions units, all functions suit, all follow suit. In order to do anything, the men must sign loyalty oaths. Black sees that he no longer stands out, so he makes the men sign 2 loyalty oaths. The other officers follow suit. Black ups it to 3, then 4 loyalty oaths, and then reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. Next, the men who come to Black's intelligence tent must sing the Star-Spangled Banner. It got to 4 loyalty oaths, the Pledge of Allegiance, and 4 choruses of the national anthem. With each addition, Black scorned the other officers for not following suit. Quote, the combat men in the squadron discovered themselves dominated by the administrators appointed to serve them. They were bullied, insulted, harassed, and shoved about all day long by one after the other. When they voiced objection, Captain Black replied that people who were loyal would not mind signing all the loyalty oaths that they had to. To anyone who questioned the effectiveness of the loyalty oaths, he replied that people who really did owe allegiance to their country would be proud to pledge it as often as he forced them to. Now do you get it? Catch-22 continues. Quote, the important thing is to keep them pledging, Black explained to his cohorts. It doesn't matter whether they mean it or not. To Captain Pritchard and Captain Wren, the glorious loyalty oath crusade was a glorious pain in the ass since it complicated their task of organizing the crews for each combat mission. Men were tied up all over the squadron, signing, pledging, and singing, and the missions took hours longer to get underway. Effective emergency action became impossible, but Captain Pritchard and Captain Wren were both too timid to raise any outcry against Captain Black, who scrupulously enforced each day the doctrine of continual reaffirmation, that he had originated a doctrine designed to trap all those men who had become disloyal since the last time they'd signed a loyalty oath the day before. Enter Major Blank de Coverley. Nobody knows what his job is because he's so terrifying. Everyone is afraid of him, that nobody even knows his first name. They're all too afraid to ask. He looks like a white-haired biblical patriarch, and he always makes sure to find the men incredible accommodations when they go on leave, so the men love him despite their fear. He was away looking for accommodations when the glorious loyalty oath crusade came into being. After Major Blank de Coverley returns, he goes to the mess tent and stops dead, staring. Every man is signing loyalty oaths, reciting the pledge, and singing the national anthem at every step of the way. He pushes through the crowd and the tent falls silent. Major Blank de Coverley gets a tray, moves to the head of the line, and slams down his tray. Gimme eat, he snarls to the cook. The cook holds out a loyalty oath and a pen. Major Blank de Coverley knocks it out of his hand. Gimme eat, I said, he bellows. The cook hurriedly complies. Major Blank de Coverley turns and surveys the room, turns back to the cook, and sweeps his arm in an arc to indicate the men. Give everybody eat. And that was the end of the glorious loyalty oath crusade. You never comply when ordered to denounce or condemn on command. Look at this happy horseshit from Breitbart.com. McMaster. Trump is aiding and abetting Putin's efforts on election interference. How is Trump aiding and abetting Putin? From the article, quote, the sustained campaign of disruption, disinformation, and denial is aided by any leader who doesn't acknowledge it. This is why I think the president has to be much stronger in condemning this effort to really reduce our confidence in who we are as Americans. End quote. Have you ever heard of anything stupider in your life? McMaster has no idea what Trump is doing behind the scenes. He just wants strong verbal condemnation, like we got in the past. How effective was that? Let's see a show of hands. How many of you feel a reduced confidence in who we are as Americans? How many of you will feel a greater confidence in who we are as Americans if Trump condemns Russia? This is why Democrats are unfit to hold positions of power. McMaster honestly believes that unless Trump makes an entirely useless verbal condemnation, Trump is aiding and abetting the Russians. McMaster was once a brilliant man. The mental illness of leftism made him into a shadow of what he was. All untreated mental illness is progressive. It always gets worse. Public condemnations on command must never be made. Trump is right to always refuse to comply.
I will be the greatest president that God ever created.